Ayy, yeah. Bitch, I'm pipe dog, toting weapons.
Stash tutorials. Here's my email if you want me to edit one of your videos. I've been editing a lot of videos for people, and they've really been liking it. So yeah, here's my saphire link. I just updated it with my new presets and my new editing pack, so that should interest you guys. And here's my ads if you want to look at them. Thing about this tutorial, you're gonna need saphire for this, so sorry about that. But if you don't have saphire right now, then what are you doing? Alright, so this transition is a really difficult transition. It's not difficult, it's just there's a lot of layers to it, and it's the only transition or only effect I've come across that I can't really replicate 100% to it. But the good thing is it goes pretty fast that you can't really tell it's different, and even then you don't want to have the same exact effects as other editors have. You want to make them your own, and so just whatever. So yeah, let's just get into the tutorial. So I have my two clips right here, and my cut will go like this. Okay, and so we don't need that far into it. So to start with the transition, what we're gonna need to do is we're gonna go to the last frame of the first clip, and then we're gonna make sure this is on best full, and take a snapshot of this, and then save it to where you want to save it. I'll save it in here, and it'll come into your project media folder. Don't worry about any of these, this is just what my project media is. So I'm gonna drag it on. Oh, sorry, if you don't have another layer, you want to right click and insert new video track, but I'm just gonna drag it on top of the two clips right here. So as I look right now, I'll have, if the transition will go like this, it'll go and then the still image, and then this will be underneath it. So what I want to do now is I just want to cut this because I don't need all of it, and then I'm gonna want here, I'm just gonna make it as long as I want, and the transition I made was about 6 seconds, and I thought that would look the best. Not 6 seconds, 6 frames, and I thought that looked the best. So I'm just gonna cut this into 6 frames. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and I'm just gonna cut it to there. Alright, now to get into the effect, we're gonna want to first mask him out. And obviously I'm going to do a crude mask to save time, but if you guys, like I always say, you always want to take time on your masks. Try to skip time if you guys already know how to mask, but if you guys don't know how to mask, then follow along. So crudely mask him. I'll feather him out later. Oh, that's a really bad mask. I'll get his whole wheelchair. There we go. And so he looks like that. I'm going to feather him out about 2, 1. Yeah, I'm going to feather him about out 1, and that looks pretty decent to me. Okay, so now we have this. It'll go this first clip into the still image, and then the second clip starts. So now what we want to do is we're going to want to duplicate this track, this top track, and then we want to duplicate the top track. It'll create this. Now next we want to do is we want to add effects to it. We're going to go to video effects. Sorry I didn't say this earlier, you're going to need saphire for this, so get saphire before you get this. You're going to want to put S edge raise on this, and then just drag this onto the bottom of the two masks. And then you have this effect. I'm gonna put the ray length down to 0, and then I'll have an outline of him. If I want a different color, let's say I want to do purple, which they did in the video. Actually, I'm gonna choose red because her thing's red and it kind of goes with the video. So I'm gonna do red. The brightness, I'm gonna go a little bit up more. Okay, and that's how I'm gonna like it right there. Now, in the video, he kind of had this little warping effect towards him. If you don't want to do that, just don't put the warp effect. But what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna look up warp bubble, and then I usually use number 1, and then I'm just gonna drag that onto the second clip as well. Okay, so now I'm gonna bring this amplitude down to a little bit lower, about right here, and I'm gonna bring the frequency X point way high, all the way up as I can. and I'm bring this frequency maybe up as well. And then I'm going to bring the amplitude down a little bit more. Maybe a little bit up more. Yeah, we'll just leave it like that. That looks fine. Okay, and then now we've done, well, we haven't done it. Okay, so now what we want to do is we want to go to the transition tab right here. And then now what we want to do is look up slide, which should be in your Vegas already. So I'm going to slide in from the left to the right. And so I'm going to use, obviously, slide in left, right. And I'm going to put this on the bottom mask. Okay, and then I don't want this to do it the whole time. So I want it to be, I'm going to extend this clip a little bit more. Yeah, and then I'm going to actually extend both these clips a little bit more. And then I'm going to make this transition to be 6 seconds. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And then there we go. And then now what you want to do is you get this thing where he starts flying in from the right. And we obviously don't want that. We want it, so we're going to come over here and we're going to change his direction in to out. And then he will start filling out the blanks, as in like this. But you guys notice, if you guys noticed, he came in from the right and went to the left instead of the opposite way around. So what we want to do is we want to mess with the angle now. So if I put in, say, 180, I'm just testing this out to see if I'm correct. He should come in from the left to the right. So you might have to change that, change it to 180 or minus 180, and you should be good from the left to the right where we originally planned. Alright, so now that's the effect on him. Now we have to do the transition that comes in the background of it. Okay, so we finished putting on the edge effect on our mask layer and the transition where it comes in to the side. Now we need to put the edge effect and the transition on this bottom layer. So what we need to do now is we want to go to this bottom layer and then just right click next to it and insert video track. And then after we want to do that, we just want to drag this up. So our clip would be right here if they're not touching. And then we just want to go to transitions again and then just put on the same transition we put on for our mask layer. So I'm going to type in slide and I'm going to type in slide in left to right. Now I'm going to want to make sure the transition ends where my mask transition ends, right about there, and then make sure it also starts where my mask transition starts. That's how you get the same like timing for this. So when this crosses, this will become blurred as well, as in like it'll become an edge effect, and that's what we really want. So what we need to fix now is this blackness that's happening right here. Since we don't have a video right here, it's gonna be black obviously. So what we can do is we can bring in, or we can drag this extra clip in here, but the problem is he's still moving underneath our picture. So you can see him moving a little bit in the background, and also she's moving, and that doesn't really work well. So what we can do is we can just copy and paste the top mask underneath our next video, and then make sure we take off the mask first. And then once we do that, we should be able to get this. So it'll be video, first clip, picture, doesn't see anything, fast transition to the next clip, and then boom. Alright, so now to get the edge of this red and kind of like this, we just want to go back to our transition, click on border, color, and then what I'm going to do here is I'm just going to click over here so I can get this right color, eyedropper, click on this red, that's fine right there. And then the size, I'm going to bring the size up a tiny bit, not that much, and the feather up a tiny bit as well. You don't want it to be big, or you can do whatever you want, but I usually like it pretty small. And then what we have now is we have this transition until it's done. Now what I said earlier is how I can't get it to T. I can't get it to T because we have some warpness around this effect, and I can't get a warpness around the border. I tried creating duplicates and masking it out and then doing warp and I just tried everything I can think of, and I couldn't think of it. So that's why I said it's the one I can't get to the T. But luckily, it's such a fast transition. It still looks sick, and no one can tell. No one can tell any difference from it. So another thing too is right when this transition stops, you're gonna want to cut the mask layer. So I'm just gonna do one more frame and cut both of the mask layers and delete them. So if we look at our transition in whole, it'll look like something like this, which is pretty close to what Lonewolf was doing. So I'm gonna bring it, or I don't actually need to bring that out. And if we look at it a whole, and I think that's pretty close to what Lonewolf was doing. You can also, let's say, you can also make this a little bit red by color correcting it, just to give it more of that effect. So color, I should have put a glow on him instead of a color correction. Yeah, I'm gonna put glow. Sorry about that. So I'm gonna look up sapphire glow, put that on here, change the color to red. Okay, and I don't need that much glow. Bring the brightness down a little bit, even more, threshold up. Okay, and then I'm just gonna go to the beginning and keyframe the threshold to the end of the transition, all the way up, and then now we have. Wait, what happened to my glow? So if I make this super way bright, and like that. Okay, and then there we go. See, that looks more. And yeah, and that's pretty much the transition. So thanks for watching, guys. Leave a comment if you want to see anything next. I'm bringing out tutorials a lot. Hit me up if you want me to edit your videos, if you want me to shoot it, if you want me to whatever. Check out my saphire. Got my editing pack there, got my preset pack there. I just changed those to new ones, so you guys might want to see that. And subscribe. And yeah, peace out later.